Hi, and welcome to your Student Staff Agreement Module, RA Edition. My name is Sydney, and I live at P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. You're probably not laughing. Okay, so this module will not cover every single word of your agreement, but it will highlight some very important parts that we'd like you to know. It is our expectation that you will read the entire agreement and discuss any questions you may have with your supervisor or AD. Just like in every other module, there are some learning outcomes for this one as well. You will be able to define your role as a student staff member within your community and as a member of the Housing and Residence Life Department. You will also be able to know when the mandatory dates of attendance are for training during the academic year. And finally, you will be able to interpret the expectations of housing and residence life when it comes to your role and responsibilities within the department. Now first, let's determine what hiring status you hold. You are a new RA if you have not completed fall training, you have not taken and completed the leadership development class with a grade of a B or higher, that's B as in boy, and if you have not completed a full year of employment. You are an experienced RA if you have already completed the leadership development class with a grade of a B or higher, or you have completed fall training and you've completed a full year of employment. This leadership course is not one that you will have to pay for, and it will not count towards your GPA, so you can go ahead and wipe off the beads of sweat, you're good. Next, we will look at some of your job responsibilities. Be sure to be visible and available and accessible to all residents. So be in the area, make sure they know where you are. A location board can never hurt anyone. Provide floor and bulletin board decorations approved by a supervisor and meet all other departmental requirements concerning opening. Bulletin boards must be updated on a monthly basis, and holding a mandatory floor and complex meeting during the first week of each academic semester to welcome their residents, socialize, and review UCA housing policies. Hold a mandatory floor meeting prior to the end of each academic semester to review necessary complex closing procedures. Do not propagate rumors and misinformation, and if you hear it, put an end to it. Encourage your residents to get involved in complex activities and other campus and community organizations. Immediately respond to all emergencies and policy violations within your community. You will serve as a referral agent and maintain a working knowledge of campus and community resources to properly assist residents with issues and concerns. First, you will need to attend staff training in the fall and spring. Those dates are listed in your agreement. You will attend and participate in a minimum of 3 in-service sessions in the fall and a minimum of 6 for the academic year. Attending and participating in weekly staff meetings and contribute to the efficient functioning of the complex. Maintain ongoing constructive communication with all of Housing and Residence Life staff by doing things like checking your staff mailbox, text messages, emails, GroupMe, whatever the technology is that your staff will use. Be sure to check it several times a day, and you need to attend your one-on-one meetings. When recruitment rolls around, be sure to participate, whether it's through selection, training of the new staff members, or finding the new graduate assistants and professional staff in the form of committees and facilitators. Whenever you're given RA equipment and supplies, you need to take full control over them. That includes all of your keys. Be sure to not give them out to anyone. Not your best friend, not your residents, just you and yourself. Losing your keys could result in disciplinary action or termination. RAs will also be held responsible to pay full restitution for keys, equipment, and supplies that are lost or not returned at the end of the academic year or at the end of the RA term, whichever comes first. For all opening dates and closing dates, those are subject to change, so be sure to stay in contact with the Department of Housing and Residence Life and the University of Central Arkansas official calendar. Additionally, in-hall openings and closing procedures will vary according to each supervisor's discretion. Any RA needing to request early or late arrival or departure must first inform their supervisor via email and then submit a formal request, also through email, to the assistant director for approval before you make any arrangements. Failure to follow this protocol could result in the department retaining final paycheck and possible termination. Participate in closing procedures of complex is important, and failure to do so will result in the department retaining final paycheck and possible termination. Now, there is special coverage. The Housing and Residence Life Department requires RAs to work and provide coverage for special staffing assignments, including, but not limited to, complex openings and closings, the tours in the fall and spring, student staff group processes, Thanksgiving break, winter break, GA recruitment, re-app, and spring break. The specific dates for these periods will be provided as soon as they are determined. In the case of a campus emergency, RAs will be asked to stay on campus and maintain a presence in their complex, and to help communicate important emergency information to their residents. The Director of Housing and Residence Life will make the determination as to whether the RA should still vacate the campus during a campus emergency or stay. BEP drills require that all staff members be present to assist in the department with state requirements. Dates and times for the drills will be provided as soon as they are determined. Now let's talk about duty. So you have weeknight duty and weekends. During the weeknight duty, it is Sunday through Thursday from 4:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. Weekend duty is from Friday at 4:30 p.m. to Sunday at 4:30 p.m., unless otherwise stated by your supervisor. The primary RA on duty will hold the RA duty cell phone and must remain in the complex at all times. Now, if you're wondering about meals and food, because we all know it's important, don't worry, you will have 30 minutes to eat on campus for both lunch and dinner. The secondary RA on duty must remain within 10 minutes of campus and return to their complex by 10 p.m. nightly. Whenever you are on duty, be sure to wear the Housing and Residence Life polo and name tag, answer the duty phone at all times, and conduct 3 rounds. The first round is at 6:30 p.m., the second round is between 8:30 and 10:30, and the final round between midnight and 3 a.m. That's for the weekdays. Now the weekends, those same times, but you will add an additional round at noon till 3 p.m., in addition to the standard 3 rounds. If there are any changes, be sure to contact your supervisor. While you are on duty, you're walking around, you're talking to your partner, and you realize there's a door propped open. Oh no, be sure to unprop it. If there are any maintenance items or concerns, be sure to document it and call in for repairs as necessary. Make sure unwanted visitors are escorted out of the complex, and you will follow up with the GA or RLC on call and will respond to any fire panel alarms by calling UCA Police directly. Finally, you will inform the GA RLC on call of important situations as needed. If there's a holiday coming up, everything is still the same except you will be compensated $25 a day and you will be on duty for 24 hours. The RA will have a duty phone for 24 hours per day and must remain within their complex from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. Between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., the RA on duty must be within 10 minutes of campus. This does not change if the Housing and Residence Life office is open. The specific start dates and times for each break duty period will be provided during fall RA training. In the event that no one volunteers for holiday duty, the days in question will be split by all the RAs in the area. Time away. We all need to get away, that self-care piece that we always talk about in housing. Well, there are some specifics to follow when you need time away. All RAs are expected to stay in their assigned space nightly and return to their complex by 2 a.m. Any requests for an extension or night away, including the weekends, must be approved in advance from your supervisor. And all RAs may only be approved to be off for a maximum of 2 weekends per month. Complete all of your paperwork in an accurate and timely fashion. The RAs are expected to hang up flyers given to them by their supervisor within 24 hours of receiving them. As an RA, you are also known as a programmer. That means putting on really fun programs to get your residents out in the community. So you will be producing programs which promote residential learning and development. You will assess residents' interests and complex issues to develop program ideas. Developing and facilitating programs that meet all requirements under the programming model, including departmental mandatory events. First-year hall RAs will need to have interactive and educational bulletin boards at least twice a semester. Be sure to contact your supervisor as needed for the requirements. You will need to complete all programming-related forms, including proposals, evaluations, etc., in a timely manner. And if these forms are not submitted by the regarded deadline, the program will not count towards their programming requirements and will result in disciplinary action. You need to contact guest presenters and fulfill all other special requests through their supervisor, and complete all MapWorks contacts as instructed during training. Failure to meet contact minimum requirements will result in disciplinary action. You will also, as an RA, need to support all housing organizations, including the Resident Housing Association, the National Residence Hall Honorary, Housing Staff Association, and Social Justice League. Actively encourage and recruit your residents to participate in the organizations. And each supervisor may require Resident Housing Association and Social Justice League meeting attendance of your staff. And the RAs may not hold any executive board positions within the Resident Housing Association. While being an RA, you are also a representative of the university. So you will serve as a positive role model and effectively confront inappropriate and negative behaviors, including on social media and while attending other events. This doesn't mean you have to monitor the residents' social media, but it does mean if you see something on their page or on their story that you need to go and confront it. Review and be responsible for all information outlined in the student handbook and staff manual. You will demonstrate exemplary behavior at all times, both on and off campus. Think of yourself as a fishbowl, where if you see a fishbowl, odds are you're going to go look and see what the fish is. So think of yourself as your own personal fishbowl. People are always looking at you. If an RA is unable to demonstrate exemplary behavior, they will not continue serving as a Housing and Residence Life Department student employee. Respect and maintain appropriate staff and resident confidentiality at all times. Support and promote diversity in the complex, as well as on campus and in the Conway community at all times. Avoid involvement in judicial matters regarding complex residents, for example, petitions or letters, etc., etc. Communicate to residents in a professional manner, whether it's verbal or written, i.e., emails, social media, knocking on their doors. You get the gist. Academic commitments and student teaching. Student staff are not permitted to take Summer 2 classes or internships that run over into Summer 2 without prior approval from the assistant director. Approval requires documentation from the academic advisor in writing, and documentation must show that the course is a prerequisite or only offering during the Summer 2 session. RAs who plan to student teach must resign the semester before they student teach. Clinicals and similar academic experiences that are time-intensive in nature must be submitted via email to your supervisor and assistant director prior to enrollment. All employment and non-academic time commitments. Failure to discuss or disclose non-academic time commitments may result in job probation or termination. The final decision is based upon a full review of a RA's grade point average and work evaluations. Permission to be involved with non-academic time commitments outside the RA position is a privilege, which may be granted or denied by a supervisor of Housing and Residence Life. Non-academic time commitments outside of the RA position include, but are not limited to, work study, student teaching, internships, athletics, campus and community organizations, including membership, leadership roles, and activities associated with UCA's Greek affiliations, or any other extracurricular involvement and major responsibilities that demand time and commitment out of the residence hall and complex. Non-academically credited internships or assistantships will be viewed in the same manner as non-academic time commitments outside of the RA position. You cannot be paid from 2 accounts, so no more than 10 to 15 hours working. Under the Federal Regulation Code, international students cannot work more than 20 hours a week while school is in session. The RA position is considered to be a 20-hour-a-week job. Therefore, students who are RAs are not allowed to work another job. If you are a new RA, a first semester RA is not permitted to hold another job outside of the position. If you are an experienced RA, you are allowed to work 1 job outside of the RA position for a maximum of 10 hours a week. A secondary employment request form must be submitted and approved by the RA's assistant director before employment can begin, with a tentative schedule attached. Now let's talk about compensation. New RAs and veteran RAs are paid over the course of the semester. All RAs are placed in a single room, which is billed at the double room rate, which is $1,738. Resident assistants receive $1,386 towards the meal plan of their choice. If the meal plan the RA chooses exceeds that amount, then the RA has to pay the difference. If it's less than the amount, then the RA keeps the difference. RAs living in the residence halls may only select plans available for resident hall students. In Housing and Residence Life, we have the analogy of a boat that students can get on. This boat is the boat of probation that could lead to the island of termination. With this analogy in mind, your direct supervisor as well as your indirect supervisor have the right to place an RA on probation or to terminate an RA from the RA position if the RA fails to complete any and all of their position responsibilities. If a RA resigns before the end of their contract employment date and remains a student at UCA and continues to stay in housing, they will not lose their deposit and will not have to do a lease buyout. If a RA resigns before the end of their RA agreement employment date and does not remain in housing, they will forfeit their deposit and will be responsible for the lease buyout fee. A letter explaining the circumstances will be kept in their permanent employment file. If a RA is placed on probation for any reason, due to grades, programming, job performance issues, etc., the RA will be required to resign from any paid employment outside of the RA position. Decisions regarding limiting involvement in other non-academic time commitments will be made by their residence coordinator and/or the residence life coordinator. Before we wrap it up, here are a few other things to consider. One of those is the use of alcohol and/or other drugs by student staff. Inappropriate drinking behavior, regardless of the age of the staff member, will be addressed by the staff member's immediate supervisors. Possible ramifications for those who engage in these behaviors may ultimately result in termination of employment. Examples of inappropriate behavior include, but are not limited to, drinking while on duty or under the influence of alcohol while on duty, drinking on campus or in any university-owned or leased property, or failure to perform responsibilities as a result of alcohol use. If you are of age and plan to consume alcohol off campus, please be mindful of your behavior and state of mind before you return to your hall complex. All information concerning students must be handled with extreme care. The Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, provides many restrictions and guidelines for access of student information. Resident assistants should not give out other student listings, student addresses, or contact information, grades, ID numbers, class standing, or any other personal student information. Relationships involving power differentials that create conflict of interest, breach of trust, abuse of power, and breach of professional ethics are not appropriate. Trust and respect are diminished when those in positions of authority are perceived as abusing their power. Well, that's a quick run through of your staff. See you at training. It says mandatory. You will meet all additional requirements outlined. Clinicals are similar academic. Under the Federal Regulation Code 8, CFR 214.299. Why do I have to read all that? Damn these R's. If My name is Sydney, and I live at P. Sherman. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby. What?
Keep that in, and then the next part just cut to you being like deadpan serious.
It's just still recording.